I'd like to start off by inviting the Vice Chairman of the International Alliance of Robotics Association right here on the podium. Please put your hands together and help me welcome our keynote speaker, Oliver Tian. So.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here. And Honorable Minister and all distinguished guests, I find it amazing to come to a country that has so much vision and aspiration to look at innovation. I come from Singapore. I flew in last night. And I represent two associations. One is the Global Robot Cluster, and the other is the International Alliance of Robotic Associations. So really, robotics is the space I play in. And of course, with robotics comes AI in robotics, which I'll talk a bit more as we go along. I see a lot of US friends here. I love that because I used to work for the US multinationals for 20 years. And the Bay Area is a place I go to very frequently. So let me begin my presentation. I want to talk about how we can deal with cross-border collaboration to develop innovations. Because I believe the world today is getting a lot more connected together. And it's so important that we need to start to work with each other, collaborate with each other, so that we can move forward with a lot of innovation and work towards a better quality of life for all of us. Now, let me explain the two organizations that I belong to. Firstly, the Global Robot Clusters. We represent 28 clusters around the world from 22 countries. Of course, some bigger countries like the United States, India, has more than one cluster. Hence, there are 28 clusters. Our goal is to try our best to support growth. We try our best to help countries collaborate and innovate different technologies. We have an annual assembly that takes place in November in Daegu City out of Korea. We are growing and we are kind of new, first established in 2018. Right? And over the past few years, we have kind of built up a very strong network of organizations that wish to come together. And if you look at the map right there, Nepal is definitely on the list. We welcome Nepal to join us in this organization and work towards greater collaboration. The second organization that I belong to is the International Alliance of Robotic Association. As you can tell, this is really centered very much out of China. Right? The headquarters is in Zhejiang, Hangzhou. Right? And a lot of the provinces are part of this association. Yeah? And the wider countries come together to support China in some of the innovation works there. So the Global Robot Cluster spends much time working together in different forms. Right? We have our General Assembly in November, and we have our midterm annual board meeting in different countries. We move from country to country. We've been to the United States, we've been to France, we've been to Singapore, and we're thinking of going to New Zealand and perhaps Israel as a possibility of working together. I want to talk about what I think are the key areas of consideration for cross-border collaboration. I think this is extremely important because while we start to look at a lot of collaboration, what does it mean to many of us? I believe it's important to start off with communities of learning, how we can all learn. There are different levels of learning. And of course, it's important that we help each other in cross-sharing of knowledges. And communities of learning is probably the first stepping stone to building the path towards collaboration, sharing knowledge, and being able to understand the different levels of competency in the different countries, and more importantly, help to uplift those countries that need more knowledge sharing. The second area is really in the area of pulling together interdiscipline groups, right? Innovation is not about one discipline or another. is about disciplines coming together, and forming those groups are so important, whether it's within a country or cross-border. The third is really trying to put together a structure that we can build professional competencies and put commercial application in place. And then finally, a structure that allows more stable collaboration. So if I go into a lot of details of each of these particular areas, what it suggests is that there are tremendously huge opportunities for all of us to explore the different areas of collaboration. And in this sense itself, I believe we can work towards sharing of knowledge right through the space of interdisciplinary collaboration and down to building a structure where we can do a lot of combination work. Just to give you some examples of what the Global Robot Cluster does. We spend time talking to different countries who visit Korea, and we invite them to factories to see innovations that's taking place. We bring them to universities and talk about different spaces. We discuss policies, guidelines, standards to help the different countries. There was one particular initiative that we look at in terms of how countries can come together to collaborate. So this is one example whereby the ASEAN countries came together to look at how collaboration can take place. We look at things like robotics in the construction sector and how we can work together. We look at a program called the World Talent Companion, which I would love to invite Nepal to participate. This is where we try to provide opportunities for the young learners, college students, to cross border and have international internship. I'll just skip through this in terms of how the Global Robots Cluster can support. There are three areas which I believe we should be considering. One is how we can find a commercially viable technology that can be brought into different countries. Two is really the area of looking at how we can translate technology into commercially viable applications. And this is where a lot of startups and innovations can come together. Thirdly is the academic research, where there's a concept, there's an idea, how can we spend time building together the right aspects and understanding the actual industry needs that can generate greater collaboration. This is one particular event that we organized in Singapore, AI Robotics, and this is like AI in robotics. Machines are dumb machines that cannot do much, but if you put in the intelligence, we can do a lot more. We believe in how we can greatly leverage technology to augment human capabilities and extend human potential. It is important we are able to understand the technology and use it accordingly. So we look at future technology, what's possible, what's available. We look at future work, how does it impact the work cycle, process, and more importantly, future skills that's needed to explore work, and more importantly, in the whole process itself, look at the innovation of the different space. I'll probably end off with this particular slide to just talk about a little in the area of AI, artificial intelligence, which is one of the keywords today, right? And for those who are not very familiar with AI, we fear and we feel the threat that AI may replace us. But I want to say that AI will not replace us. AI is just a technology. It is the person who knows how to use AI that will replace people who do not. So it is important that all of us start to build up our capability to understand technology. There are three ways we can do that. One, I encourage people to start looking at your own local innovation map. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? With that, you can move on to look at how you can survey global matching programs that can match your local needs. And then put together a strategy that can look at both global and local alignment. Because this is the only way Nepal can grow and develop. This is the only way the outside world can understand what you need and come together and collaborate. I believe innovation is a collaboration between all parties, regardless of which country you come from. So with that very brief note, I thank you very much for your time, and I really enjoy talking to all of you. Thank you again.